In this video, we're going to talk about ticks. Ticks are obviously a growing concern across the Midwest and the Northeast and lots of areas. There's been a literal explosion of tick populations in many parts of the country, including where I live, which is Michigan. And the first time I ever saw a tick, it was on my arm up in the forest, and I freaked out. I freaked out pretty bad, and I took it upon myself to learn pretty much everything I could to learn about the little suckers. And my mind is a lot more at ease now than it was back then. And I practice pretty aggressive tick prevention anytime that I'm in the forest, and these days even on my own property. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some basic tick facts and some prevention and what to do if you find one on you. First of all, ticks crawl onto you from the ground. They hang out on blades of grass and scrub and things like that, and they crawl right up your foot, right up your leg, and then make their way to wherever they're going to decide to latch onto you. They don't fall out of trees. They don't jump on you. They don't fly. They crawl on you from the ground. And there's a lot of talk about different ticks coming in different sizes, and based on the size of it, you can tell what kind of tick you have. That's not entirely accurate. All the different types of ticks come in small, medium, and large. They're probably just different ages. So you really want to try to identify a tick based on other characteristics like markings and things like that. Something that some people think is that ticks are only active in the summer. They're not mosquitoes. They can be active a lot of times during the year. Pretty much any time the ground is not frozen or covered in snow, you could have ticks crawling around. Everybody knows that ticks are known to transmit Lyme disease, but they can carry and transmit several other types of disease-causing microbes besides for Lyme disease. Lyme disease is kind of the big one that people talk about because it's probably the most scary, and if it's not treated, it's pretty permanent and pretty awful. There's other types of diseases where you'll wish you didn't have them, but generally they're not permanent. There's one of the diseases, I can't think of the name of it, but in some cases, in some people, it causes a permanent allergy to red meat. That is just the weirdest thing. You get bit by a tick, you don't treat the illness that it transmitted to you, and you develop a literal allergy to red meat. I don't understand it, but I'd love to avoid that one too. Now, the piece of information that puts my mind perhaps most at ease is that for most tick-borne diseases, including Lyme disease, a tick has to be sucking on you for at least 24 to 48 hours to transmit an infection. And after 48 hours of feeding on you, a tick's going to have grown in size quite a bit because it's filled with your blood. And in other words, you're going to be able to find the thing if it's on you. You have to be a little bit mindful to check for it, but you'll be able to find it. They're not so tiny that you can't find them. I'll get more into that in a couple minutes. Prevention is key. It's the number one tool to avoid tick bites and tick-caused diseases around your own property. Keep your lawn mowed. They like tall grass. They like to wait till you walk through it and then just grab on. Keeping your lawn mowed and your weeds trimmed is a big way to fight getting a tick on you. Second, wear long pants if you're going to be in tick-infested places. In the summer, it's nice to wear shorts and maybe flip-flops or sandals, that sort of thing. But if you're going to be in the woods or in fields or anything like that, wear socks, wear shoes, wear long pants. That alone does a lot to keep them from crawling up onto your skin. And wear light-colored clothing. I never understood this one at first because I couldn't find an explanation. Finally, I did, and the explanation is basically light-colored clothing. It's easier to see if there is a tick crawling on you. If you wear tan pants, you can probably see the thing crawling up your leg looking for a place to get at you. I don't always practice this one. My usual forest clothing is either camouflage pants or dark gray pants, so I don't really follow that one. But I do follow the next point, and that's using permethrin spray on all of my clothes and my shoes. I know there's some different types that you can buy, but a chemical called permethrin is probably the most effective at keeping ticks away from you. They have it in different types. You can get a kind that's topical, like a spray or a lotion for your skin, kind of like a mosquito repellent. But I like to buy the kind that's specifically meant to spray on your clothes. A few days before I go camping or otherwise go into tick-infested places, I will lay out all the clothes that I plan to bring and spray them down with a nice coat of permethrin. It comes in a bottle with a sprayer on it, and then you can buy containers of the stuff that you can use to refill your spray bottle, that sort of thing. It's not real expensive. You can get a whole bunch of it for about $20. I'm still working on the bottles that I bought a couple years ago, and I think I paid $20 for them. Permethrin that is meant to spray on clothes is said to last for weeks. Even if you wash and dry your clothes, the permethrin's still in there. I probably apply it way more heavily than I need to. I just like to kind of go overkill on things and make extra sure. So I'll spray my clothes, both sides of every shirt, pants, socks. I don't do the underwear. And I'd probably reapply it even if I was going back into the woods within that 6 weeks. But that's just me. It's been great ever since I've used it. I've never had a tick crawl on me. They don't want anything to do with it, and I believe it kills them pretty much on contact. This stuff is said to be safe for almost everyone to use. I don't think you're supposed to use it with babies or people with, I can't remember if there's an autoimmune disease or a pregnancy, sort of a disclaimer on it. Well, I'm none of those things, so I use it pretty liberally. And it just works great. The first year I used it, I was the only one that used it, and I was the only one that didn't get a single tick on me. So now everybody that goes uses the stuff, and it's been just great. I'll spray my shoes. I'm sure it's unnecessary, but I'll also spray around kind of the opening of my tent just to be extra sure in case one of them decides to get curious. So yeah, permethrin spray for your clothes. Next, anytime that you're going to be in a tick-infested place, do a thorough full body check every day. Like I said, they need to be on you for 24 to 48 hours. So you can, if you have one somewhere on you for a while, it's not going to be a problem. But once a day, you should really check yourself over. And check your pets thoroughly on a regular basis too. They could really get hidden in all your dog's hair if they have thick or dark hair. Just check them with a comb. Look really closely. Just check them all out. And for your pets, apply Frontline to them once a month if they're going to be in a place where there could be ticks, which is your own backyard probably. So you don't want your dogs to get Lyme disease either. Now, if you do find a tick on yourself or your pet, the most recommended way to remove it is with pointy tweezers. You want to grasp them around the body as close to your skin as possible. Pull them straight out very gently. You don't want to squeeze the tick any more than is necessary to grasp it with the tweezers. You don't want to squeeze them because that can cause them to regurgitate back into you, and that's when you're most likely to get something transmitted to you if that tick does happen to have something in it. Don't try to burn it with a cigarette. Don't try to drown it, smother it with Vaseline. all of those things are said to increase the risk that the tick is going to freak out and try to burrow its head deeper to get away from the thing that's attacking it. So pull them gently straight out with pointy tweezers. From there, dispose of it. Put it into a campfire. Drop it into a cup of alcohol. If you drop it on the ground, it's just going to go back into tick circulation. If you do get bit or your animal gets bit, keep a close eye on that area for a while. Keep an eye on it for a couple months. It's probably going to be fine. But if you do start to have a bullseye shaped rash around where it was bit, go to the doctor immediately. That's one of the common visual symptoms of Lyme disease. And if you can get the antibiotic treatment as soon as possible, you're almost certainly going to be okay. If you start experiencing any kind of symptoms of illness, anything at all, flu-like symptoms, fever, anything, even if you don't have that bullseye-shaped rash, go to the doctor. You won't always have that rash. Lyme disease is very treatable if you catch it quickly. I don't know if it's technically called curable, but I believe that if you catch it quickly, you shouldn't have any lifelong effects from it. But if you don't catch it and it fully infects you, Lyme disease is just a terrible thing. It ruins people's lives. So stay vigilant. Prevention is the most effective way to keep from getting some kind of tick-borne illness. But if you do get bit, it's not the end of the world. Most ticks don't have Lyme disease, and even if they do, it's going to be a day or two before it can transmit to you. And even if it does transmit to you, it can be fixed if you catch it soon. The ticks are worse than ever, and they're probably only going to get worse as the global temperatures change, things like that. It's increasing the ideal habitat for a tick. Their breeding period is longer each year because there's more ideal temperatures for them. So this isn't a problem that's probably going to go away in our lifetime. Maybe a new way to treat will come out, but for now, it's prevention and knowing what to look for if you do have a tick on you or your animal. So that's it. I'm getting ready to head up into the woods. This is springtime, which means it's camping season for me. I'm going to be spending a lot of time up there, and I hate being preoccupied in my mind with concerns about ticks. So I go kind of hard on the permethrin and the vigilance, and so far I haven't had any tick problems. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And that's it. Until next time, this is Great Lakes Prepping.